At WNIR, just like that. Hello.
Good morning. I
Hey.
was trying to answer earlier, and I had my microphone muted, so you hung up on me, which I don't blame you. I'm going, hello. Then I looked, well, that's dumb. But the reason I called is listen to different people calling about no work and, the Fed and, the rich and everything else. Well, I'm here to tell you that coil steel has just gone through the roof as far as rates to haul it. And it's mainly stainless and mainly 19 gauge, which would be 0.04, 0.05 of an inch thick. And from looking at my bills, because it gives a description of everything that we haul. And I believe that thickness would be about the same as would be the shell casing for all of the wars that are going on. So the rates to double, literally, within the last 6 weeks, tells me that where I pick up could be a warehouse, and where I take them is usually a slitter. And what a slitter does is these coils average 55 inches wide. Then they have to roll it out and then stamp whatever they're stamping to send to the end manufacturer who are making, for example, refrigerators or toasters. I don't think that's what they're making with this stuff at the thickness that we've been hauling from different companies, different manufacturers.
I thought shell casings were largely brass, not steel. Cartridges.
I don't think that's true when you're talking the big missiles.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. So you're talking about the big, like the 155 millimeter howitzer,
right?
Okay,
whatever they're using over in the Ukraine, for everything that they put on. That's all stainless.
I remember American Pickers years ago. Have you ever seen? Trench art. The guys are sitting there in World War I, and they're waiting to die, and they just wait and wait and wait 2 or 3 days, and they get bored, and they take the old brass, and they would make art out of them, out of the actual. Yeah, it's very collectible. It's called trench art. Okay, I'm with you. So you're saying the military-industrial complex is who is behind getting all this steel? Well, then my question is, which steel company got bought out by Japan?
And see, we had just talked just a week ago. Nippon Steel NS has been, Nippon Steel has been around for.
And they bought Carnegie or U.S. Steel, right?
No, they bought part of U.S. Steel, but part of U.S. Steel was sold years ago to ArcelorMittal out of Belgium, and actually at a plant down in Calvert, Alabama, it's called AM /NS. And it's been that way for as long as I can remember. Nippon Steel they're not a new player. They've been around for 25 years as a part of steel manufacturing, money-wise, in the United States. Because I remember it well. You said, if you hear that big noise, it's my dad and everybody else rolling over in their graves because Japan and what they're doing. No, they've been around. What made it telling is that being how A&M bought part of U.S. and probably the last little bit of crumbles was just bought up by Nippon Steel wholly, is instead of having any other partners, is what made it newsworthy, in my opinion. Because ArcelorMittal is rated like number 4 in the world because they own so much. That's what you see coming into ports in Jacksonville or Mobile, Alabama, or Jacksonville, Florida, when they're bringing steel in from over there. And under Donald Trump, they were actually forced, because it was cheaper to make it here, to start selling, which they started the process with a company in Cleveland, and they succeeded because this company in Cleveland and now goes by Cleveland Clips,
Mm-hmm.
because I just had one on. And I'll be picking another one up right up there Monday morning at 6 a.m., taking it to Georgetown, Kentucky, to another. It's not an end manufacturer where they're making the casings that I'm talking about that are on the jets that they're using and everything else that they're using over in the Ukraine-Russian war. So I would assume that these manufacturers, wherever they may be in the world, still are getting the best steel from the U.S., and who the end manufacturer is, I'll never know. But the thickness tells me at a 19 gauge that that's thin enough to be used, because, yeah, they use brass for, shells for rifles and guns, but you don't use brass. Can you imagine the cost of that if that's what they were using for the casings for the missiles that they have on, Sidewinder missile or whatever they're making?
Mm-hmm.
But all of a sudden, the rates double. So what are we doing? We do what we do. We're going to haul it. I mean, if you're going to double what it was paying before,
Mm-hmm.
you bet your sweet booty I'm going to put it on my trailer. In fact, it's going to be a 61,000-pound single that I'm taking down there. And, I mean, it just pays extremely well. If I told you what it paid me, you'd reach you the phone and slap me and say, you ain't worth that. But it is.
I would never compare you to Deshaun Watson, Snowman.
It's crazy. But I'm telling you, they're all over, because then I'm set up to, deadhead 100 miles and grab my Laredo stuff out of Middletown, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be a Cleveland Clips coil.
Mm.
So that was a Donald Trump success story to bring all the money back, or the majority of it, back to the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to thank, that's probably the wrong term to use, but people are dying in Ukraine and Russian war. And now with all the missiles being launched, because every day you read about it, over at the Gaza Strip,
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we got to make more. And then, of course, you have the U.S. people, the U.S. military, they're out there practicing.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, a week and a half ago when I was out there in Texas, I was out there by Diaz Air Force Base and got to see the B-1Bs take off. And literally, we were where that truck stop is. I was less than a half mile away from the runway.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you what, and I tried getting videos of it,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm working on my trailer, greasing it, adjusting brakes, doing all that kind of stuff. And when these things take off, B-1B, with full afterburner, it shakes the ground.
Mm-hmm.
When they take off regular, it doesn't. And it was just unbelievable. So you got them up there doing that, because B-1B just hit the news because I believe everybody ejected, but it crashed, right? Somewhere in the United States here the last day or so.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Huh.
And I forget where they were practicing, but it wasn't up there or down there in Texas. It was at other location where they keep the B-1Bs. There's something to see. Now, so we do have a lot of things going on, and there are smaller companies that are making things and doing their part to this steel that's going to end up as some kind.
I didn't hear this. Hold on a minute. 12 hours ago. I didn't see this in my airmen hospitalized after B-1 bomber crashes in South Dakota. The Air Force crew ejects safely as a B-1 bomber crashes during a landing in South Dakota. I wonder what happened.
I don't know. I was in Abilene, and that's where that Diaz Air Force Base is, which I believe it's the largest for the B-1Bs as far as where they are there. And they would have 4 or 5 at a time take off and do their circles and do their different things, full afterburner and not. And it's just something, man.
Low visibility, freezing conditions at the time, 5:30 p.m. in the afternoon yesterday. Our thoughts and prayers.
No Nobody died, did they?
No,
I think.
no.
Okay, yeah, I thought they all got out.
There's only 4 people on one of those things. A 4-man crew. I would have bet more.
Oh, they're
The B1, it was a B1. There's a difference between a B1 and a B1B, right? Is that right?
I don't think, electronically maybe, but I think the configuration.
Oh, well, yeah, the frame was. A B1's a conventional supersonic bomber delivered to the Air Force in 1985, first deployed in combat in Iraq in 1998 under Bill Clinton. It has been the U.S. bomber choice of Europe in the Pacific theater.
Right.
They're blaming it on weather in South Dakota.
Very well could be. I mean, I just remember I seen it take one crash, and I knew it wasn't out in Abilene, and I couldn't remember if it was up there in Dakotas. But the wars around the world that under Donald Trump didn't exist are booming manufacturing here in the United States to resupply what's being used. Now, there are thicker gauge steel that I've been hauling, and I don't even know the relationship anymore with, like when the Hummer first come out, that was a GM product pretty much, right?
Yeah.
When they made it for the government, the Humvee. And I have no clue of, who's making what now, because they actually have, and I know you've seen the side-by-side that everybody has on their trailers, and they're going to go four-wheeling and stuff. But the military has a version of that is armor-plated. Some are not. They're cool. I mean, I've seen thousands of them that are used over in the Middle East for the most part because of the paint scheme. That you got to really research to find them. But I've seen them at bases and I've seen them at ports being shipped, and all with 50 calibers or whatnot mounted on. They're cool as heck. There are something.
That would look like something out of Mad Max almost,
It pretty much does.
Yeah.
That's the best way to describe it. It's exactly what it looks like. So these wars that our government is, staying in the middle of because of the money that maybe they have invested, as you were talking earlier.
The stock market people, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they pretty much, everything started going that way the day that Biden, January 20th, took office. So it has affected our economy for the good right now. Because I guarantee, I could tell you 6 weeks ago, this exact thing that I'll be picking up Monday was paying me half. I mean, it's double. It's just ridiculous, the amount of money that it's paying. So it has helped. At what cost? Human life.
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't know. It's kind of hard to say, Snowman's against life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Absolutely not. I'm doing quite well with life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The only way you get the pursuit of happiness in our country is if you got money.
Right.
In order to buy whatever you want to do. I mean, you can go to country songs and say, yeah, money can't buy you happiness, but it can buy you a boat. And it can buy you a truck to haul the boat. Yeah, right? Any way you look at it.
It's good to hear from you. Be careful. Keep in touch, okay?
I will.
All right, man. Take care. All right, we'll see you. We'll be right back.